everybody. If anybody's watching this, if you just drop a comment, let us know that you're on, so we know we're live on Facebook. I'm pretty sure we are, but I just want to make sure before we get started. It'll be popping up any second now.
Okay. Happy Friday.
Yeah. Is it Friday?
TGIF.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Okay, yes, I'm just starting to come on. Very good. Hello, Rosie. Let us all know where you're coming from. Everybody, where are you in the world? Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our little chat today. Very good. So I'll just get started while people file in here. So hi, everybody. I'm Laura Wooster, and I'm here with my dear friend and colleague, Reverend Joe Shiel, the new pastor of the Journey Within Church, Spiritualist Church in New Jersey. I know a lot of you know who Joe is, but you're in for a treat here because he's very knowledgeable. He knows so much. I could listen to him all day. So we're gonna have a nice little chat about mediumship. So if you are a student of mediumship, or you are considering stepping more into that role, or you're just very curious, stick around. I promise you this will be interesting. You want to hear what Joe has to say. Hello, Anne Marie. Hello, watching from Boston. Great. Hello, Rhode Island, Florida. I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa today. Flew out of Boston on Wednesday, and it's very humid here. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so we're going to get started. So today, what we're talking about is the medium's path. So Joe and I are going to share a little bit about what was helpful for us as we unfolded as a medium towards the journey of working as a professional medium. And we're hoping this will, for people who aren't mediums, maybe give you some insight about what it's about and what it's like for us, and for people who work in this field. But also for people who are on the journey, are a student perhaps, and considering continuing their studies, what can you expect along the way, and what's helpful for you? So, Joe, what are some things that you can suggest to people who are considering stepping more into studying mediumship?
Well, I think one of the best suggestions I can make is to continue to practice, continue to keep doing it, but to also, as you get diverse teachers along the way, you're going to hear different things, and sometimes, unfortunately, out there are misleading information and some information that may not be helpful at all, and maybe put you back into habits that may keep you from moving forward for a while. So really working with teachers that are knowledgeable and working with people that have been there and done that, they have much more experience with it, can be quite helpful. And those that can assess you and to see you and to make you comfortable in your work, that they're not sitting there in judgment, they're sitting there to uplift you and to really kind of champion what you're doing, and the fact that you're honoring your talents and honoring who you're about to become here, about to discover about yourself. That's really the most important. I know that I tell all my students, I'm here for you. I hope that you become better than me in a long way, in a lot of ways, and so that you can carry it forward. It's very important that mediumship become a more mainstream part of society. It's been the sidekick, or the carnival for a while. It's been the silliness and that type of thing. This is serious business, and it's serious work, and it takes a serious mind and a very sharp mind to really perform this well. And you'll find that if you get involved in it and you really kind of own it in your own heart and soul, and you become of service to spirit and service to those who are in need, those grieving, those else, you're going to find your own heart and soul align. Your mind will straighten to the point where you become much more calm and comfortable and competent and confident in your work over time. And that's really the importance of having good teachers that can assess you in a way that's uplifting and put you forward and tell you, without hurting, but tell you where things could be adjusted. How could you do better? What did you do right? What could you do different, if you will, to kind of switch things? And that's one of the reasons that Laura and I are putting together something for platform mediumship, the kind of a public demonstration, that type of thing, because that can be very nerve-wracking just to get up in front of people in the first place.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah.
It can be just, you're talking to one of the shyest kid in high
I'm
school.
right there with you. Me too. Like,
And today I'm a ham. I get it. I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But that didn't come overnight. That came with a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. But I want to say it didn't come necessarily from me. It came from the gift of spirit working with me. And so the more you're involved, the more you kind of ask questions, the more sometimes it's it's healthy to be a good skeptic. It's healthy to ask the question. That doesn't make
Yes,
sense to me. Well, then
absolutely.
ask the question. Put it out
Yeah.
there,
Some
and
people think they can't be on this path if they're skeptical. I'm like, no, I think it
no,
actually helps you.
I think
Yeah.
it's extremely important to be a healthy skeptic.
Yeah.
Um, there's so much stuff out there. There's so much baloney. I mean, Laura and I are both mediums for Forever Family Foundation. They'll tell you that 85% of the people out there are either uneducated. In other words, they don't know what they're doing, or they're frauds, and they're just faking it, or manipulating it to be famous or to be whatever. And you, in my opinion, you're looking at two very authentic mediums. We do this for a different intention. We're not doing this to be wealthy and go buy a yacht. We're doing this because we actually love what we do. And I don't want to speak for Laura, but I've watched her, so I know that's the case. And for me, I love what I do today. I love what I do to a point. Is it easy? That old adage of love what you do, and do what you love, and you will never have to work another day in your life. Well, that's not true.
It's
I
the
love
best
what I
job I've
do.
ever had.
I
Yeah.
love what I do, and I do what I love, and I'm working my tail off.
Yeah.
So that's. But I do it because I have a passion for what I do, and I have a passion to serve spirit for the sake of those suffering here. And I think when you get involved, you learn some of the realities of that this is serious business. It's not playtime.
Right.
It's not jokester time. It's not let's take out the crystal ball or the remember the 8 balls when you're a kid, take those out and shake them and see what answer you get. This
Right.
is really coming to understand yourself completely,
Mhm.
and coming to know yourself and love yourself in such a way that you know that spirit's with you. You know it's different than you. And
Mhm.
so my I guess my biggest suggestion is don't give up.
Yeah.
Uh, don't quit before the miracle, as they say,
Yeah.
and just keep on keeping on, but discern, which means making an informed soul choice for yourself, making an informed soul decision. And discernment is very important when it comes to mediumship. I kind of call mediumship the ministry of mediumship, because if we're not doing it for the sake of an upliftment of others, then what the heck are we doing it for? Kind of check your intentions. If it's just to hang out a shingle and or get the next TV show, you're probably not doing the right thing, and you'll
Mhm.
probably find yourself quite wanting in time. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's my take at it for now. I think there's lots more, but there's so
Mhm.
much more, right? But
Yeah.
I really do appreciate everybody kind of coming in on the chat here, and
Yeah. If anybody has questions for us, just pop those in the comments. We'd love to see your questions. So, Joe, what did you find was helpful for you as you progressed on your path as a medium?
I think the biggest thing that helped me was to um, assess, to watch other mediums and do other mediums, but not to compete with them.
Right.
Not to get in competition, like, oh, they're better than me or they're better than that. It was to say, okay, what am I doing right and what am I doing wrong, and
Mhm.
how could I do this better? Where can I learn another nugget of information that could help me grow? How could I feel more peaceful and honest within myself about this work? And
Mhm.
the other thing was to work with people that were encouraging in a way that they helped me get through some of my fears, which were the fears come from all over. When we
Mhm.
begin this work, you're going to have fears because of your religious upbringing, because of your family, because of your friends, and I can honestly say you may not keep all your friends.
Yeah.
What are you
True.
doing weird stuff for? The minute you start to do this, it's like you're a weirdo, and then the phone stops ringing. That type of thing. It's
Mhm.
because of people's misconceptions. It's because they're not educated. They're not sound of mind about these things. They've received information from silly TV shows or otherwise, and so they're afraid too. We might be afraid of doing this work and what's happening to me. How did I get that message? How did I do those things? Early on, that's the way it is. But our friends and family around us are also watching us go through these changes and go through these new insights of who we are and what we're all about. And they could worry about that because they've got those same concepts from the silliness of the past or the
Mhm.
stereotypes of the past of who people are. So it can be very, very concerning. And I would say learn as much as you can learn and take your time, be patient and tolerant with yourself and with those around you. Don't try to explain these things to your family and friends in the beginning because I'm afraid to say you don't know enough yet. You know, wait till you have it uh, a good understanding of what it is you do and your talents in order to get into that debate with people because
Good point.
they could take you right out. It's like in manifesting. The biggest thing about manifesting is to manifest, you're working with the higher source, you're working with the universe. What you want wants you in the universe. And that's your secret. That's why that big thing of the secret came out years ago, but they forgot to mention you got to keep it a secret because the minute you tell somebody, "Oh, I'm going to get a brand new car," and then somebody rolls their eyes and goes, "Oh," and so you don't get the car because all of a sudden you've got a different person's energy and take at it,
Mhm.
kind of influencing you.
Mhm.
So staying around people that are a good influence, that are positive about this work, that know this work and love this work in a way that they're doing it for the right reasons, and that is to serve and to help others and to really uplift their own souls, then you know you're with the right people and you're gonna learn well. And then
Mhm.
there's no worries after that because
Yeah.
the abundance will come, the work will come, the associations you make will be there, and there's no need for competition. There's only a need to kind of find your lane and go, and there'll be plenty of people that'll come to you for help because you have your own unique gift. When no two of us are alike. We all have the similar happenings in life. We all have been hurt and betrayed. We've all been happy and joyous, and
Mhm.
we've all had our freedoms and we've all had our constraints. We've all had our fears and we've all had our hopes. We know what it's like to live, all of us. And nothing you've done in your life is wasted. Not one thing that's ever happened to you will be wasted in mediumship because someone out there on the other side, some person who's still living in that continuity of life, wants to use you as the instrument to bring the message of peace to their loved one that's still here, who may need it, who may need the upliftment, the hope, or maybe the insight of how to change their lives as well. And
Mhm.
you're that instrument. And
Mhm.
not everybody that wants a reading wants to come to Joe Shiel.
Right.
One, maybe they don't want to deal with a man. Two, they maybe I'm too old for I'm not going to understand them. So
Yeah.
there's room for everybody. There's
Oh, yeah, there's a medium for everybody. I always say that there's always a medium for everybody. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So Shannon asked a question. Let me see. I'm going to put this up for you. I'm so interested in this and wanting to learn more. What is the best daily practice I should be doing?
It's the best daily practice you should be doing. I think the more you I think reading is good. I want to be careful about the kinds of books I read. If it really seems like it's silly from the beginning, then put it down. Don't worry about it because there's a lot of self-published books and things these days. This is a boom in this whole area of mediumship. But there are people that are knowledgeable and know these things that have lived this life, that are competent in what they do, and they know the score. And those are the kinds of books you can see that it makes sense, that it adds up, if you will. So
Mhm.
that's one thing I would do. The other thing I would do is I would learn to the difference between sitting in the power and sitting in meditation.
Mhm. Right.
Meditation is more about kind of contemplating us, not necessarily contemplating our own navel and being silly, but one about really kind of self-assessing where we're at, how am I doing, being mindful of what's around us and how we fit into the world and what we can do for the world around the world, if you will. But
Mhm.
sitting in the power is really sitting in a place where um, it really uplifts us and brings us to a place of um, almost our own holiness, our own spirit itself, and nurturing the spirit of who we are, because we're spiritual beings living in this physical existence that can be quite difficult at times.
Mhm.
So, really nurturing the spirit to be more light, more bright, to illuminate the truth of who we are, living in our own truth. So, one of the things I do every day is to say, okay, where am I being truthful? Where am I kind of full of it?
Yeah,
Kind of telling myself
self-assessment
lies.
is so important,
Hmm.
and working on our own stuff at the same time, so we're the
Absolutely.
clearest channel possible.
Absolutely.
Whatever's needed to get you to that point is really helpful.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so I hope that helps, Shannon. So if anybody has any more questions, just pop those in there. Hi, Al. So Al says, good afternoon. Hello. Thank you. Mario says, enjoy both of your energy. Thank you so much. Oh, and hi,
Thanks,
Richard.
Mario. Appreciate
Nancy
that.
from Lilydale. Thank you, Lily. And thank you, Lily. Thank you, Nancy from Lilydale. Um, so another thing too, like there was one thing when I was developing as a medium, and I didn't know where this was going. I just kept following the path, whatever was in front of me. I just kept learning, right? So I never thought I'd be standing on platform doing serving churches. I thought I would maybe I would like do tarot cards one to one. Like I wasn't thinking about anything else. But along the way, I found opportunities within classroom situations where I was encouraged to get up on platform and do a reading, a link or two for a group. Now, Joe said earlier he was one of the shyest kids in high school. I was like, that's me too, right? It was probably one of the best things I ever did, because not because I wanted to do this on platform, but because it helped me to get a better understanding of how to manage my energy, the energy of spirit, the energy of um, the communicator, and the energy of the person that's receiving the link within a room full of people. So
Hmm.
that's like really a very different way of understanding and managing energy. So it got me to learn very quickly and to gain confidence, so that actually it improved my one-to-one private connections. Um, so I was really grateful for the people that pushed me to do that, even though I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to be up in front of anybody. But now I'm actually doing those things in person. I've done demonstrations with Joe in front of groups. So, but the bottom line is it actually did help my mediumship on all levels. So, did you find the same thing, Joe?
Well, I think my motivation was a little different, but it came the same way. I mean, yes, I was the shyest kid in high school, but you put me on a stage behind a microphone, and I was an absolute front man and the ham, rock and roll days of that. But get me down off the stage, and I was terrified to talk to you. And that was kind of interesting. And I always thought in the beginning it's funny because I thought, if I get involved with rock and roll, then I'll meet girls or something. That was all the band members might have done that, but I didn't. Nothing ever happened. So so much for charisma, I guess. But anyway, um, in this, it wasn't to do that. It really came to me as almost a gift of desperation. My life was so broken. I I,
Mhm.
I had made I had so many things that I'd done correctly and done well. I was a successful businessman. I was successful at all things. I've had all the toys that anybody would ever want to own, the homes, the things like that. I was totally miserable. I
Mm.
was totally alone. And I remember even back in school and back as a kid, I always felt different. I always felt like I was square peg in the round hole. Like I didn't fit. I didn't fit anywhere, and that's part of what happened to me. And then when I discovered mediumship and I started to communicate with those on the other side, I realized that I'm not alone. I'm
Yeah.
not alone in this. And many people have these private storms, if you will,
Mhm.
of life, and especially those who are sensitive, especially those who have these gifts. They have they see right through the crowd. They see right through the baloney. They see right through the one who's trying to be all that in a cup of tea. They see right through it, and I was too afraid to say, you're full of junk. I was afraid to be the one who spoke up, and this really helped me with all those fears, those many fears that I had in my life, and kind of come into my own and say, wait a minute, why am I chasing like what everybody else wants to be or what everybody else wants me to be? You
Right.
know, going to the colleges that people told me to, going to the grad schools that people told me to, going to, and and I'm thinking to myself, enough, enough. My
Mhm.
philosophy has to be a philosophy of my own. My philosophy, I have to find a place, or some people call it a tribe, I guess, but I had to
Mhm.
find a place where I felt like I was able to find me, to be
Yeah.
me, you know, and
Mhm.
mediumship really helped me do that, especially when I had teachers that were willing to tell me the truth,
Yeah.
that were willing to carry me through the tears, that were willing to
Yeah.
lift me when I fell.
Mhm.
That's the kind of teachers I found over time. Yeah, I found some ones that weren't so great. I
Mhm.
found some ones that were absolutely downright dangerous. However, there are people amongst us, and Laura's one of many, many others that I believe really have a way in which to reach people and help them find what it is, that little niche, that little something that brings you into a higher level of understanding of mediumship. And so that you never have to look back again at other than to know that that's what you've been through. But you don't have to do it anymore. Now you've got this new way, and you have a fervor and almost an excitement about getting even better. I tell
Mhm.
all my students, you've got to be the consummate student. You will never stop learning everything you can about everything you can.
Just when
And
you think you
that's
know
my
everything.
motto for me every day. I want to learn everything I can about
Right.
everything I can because it's valuable in life. It's valuable to everyone I know. It's valuable to my teaching. It's valuable to my mediumship. It's valuable to the spirit world because I'm giving them an opportunity to have more things to find within me, the instrument, to use to play their message through. And that's important. I saw a question about churches, or spiritualist churches, and
Yeah.
the Journey Within here has a spiritual service on Sundays at 10 o'clock. So just go to thejourneywithin.com and that can introduce you to even maybe find something more locally at time. Okay. Just
Mhm.
all right.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Joe, and if you've joined us late, Joe is the pastor of the Journey Within Church, which
Mhm.
is in New
Yeah, I have
Jersey.
to emphasize the own church.
Yeah. Very good. Here's another question too. Let's see. Oh, this is a really good question because I've actually had this question from some of my students recently. For any number of reasons, you might be feeling disconnected. Maria says I took a few classes with Janet and a few others, was doing good, connecting to spirit, and then I lost a couple of very close friends within a few months of each other. I don't know how to get back to the connection again. This happens a lot, and as a human being, mediums are not infallible. We're going
No.
to have the human experience and the human things that come up: loss, grief, everything, illness. It'll temporarily throw you off just a wee bit, but it's not gone permanently. Promise. So what do you say, Joe?
Well, you know, I'm like you. I've been stymied by deaths in my life and people that have been transitioned to the other side, and I've lost the closest people to me. And since I started mediumship, I've lost. I can't even keep count of how many people I've lost, but I've lost the closest people to me, people I love dearly and miss dearly. That my confidants, the people that I've asked advice from, people that I bounced my ideas and my pain off of, and 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 I felt lost afterwards. As a matter of fact, I didn't read afterwards. Janet Havoc and I were extremely close, extremely. I mean, best friends, and then some. I mean, we could finish each other's sentences, for God's sakes. It's just like, and I'm doing this job because I honor her and I'm honoring her dreams. I still feel like I haven't changed jobs. I'm still the secondhand man here trying to increase, what her dreams were. And that's really, and I'm okay with that. I'm
Mhm.
okay with that because I believe that when we lose somebody so special to us, or we have losses that are a shock from, like an immediate passing, which I've had friends pass away. I lost my roommate, from college. One of my roommates just died of a heart attack instantly, that type of thing. And so it hits you. It hits you hard. You go through down memory lane. You go through all the stages of grief back and forth, and it's not lineal. It's up and down through the day.
Mhm.
It's hard to read in those things, but it's also given me more insight, more compassion, more understanding of the
Mhm.
importance of what we do as mediums. And so it's through this challenge of my own experiences with loved ones passing that I've said, I got to get really good at this because there are so many people that feel just like I do right now, that I could be of assistance to if I could help them bring their own loved ones through. And
Mhm.
don't think there's not a day that goes by that I don't try to communicate with Janet or all my other friends that have passed.
Mhm.
I name them in my head before I even start to read in the morning, because I say, "Be with me, help me."
Yeah.
And as much as I believe in this, I constantly say things like, "Show me it's real," like show me this is good, and
Yeah.
I'm human, and I'm a spiritual being in this human body that wants to tell me, don't do that, stay here in this world, don't go to that, or you know
Yeah.
that's just the confusion and the distraction. I don't
Mhm.
live in the distraction anymore. I believe that mediumship has helped me live a more spiritual life, and I think that's a better life for me all the way around. Yeah, it's not about stuff or money or things. It's about, I feel more confident and competent in myself than I ever have in my life. And I owe it all to mediumship and to the good teachers like Janet and others that I have associated myself with.
Mhm.
Hope that helps.
Absolutely. I think it helps. Yes. And I always feel like, when you feel that disconnection from spirit, I always find it's temporary.
Hmm.
Um, and I always say too, I always remind people your connection to spirit is constantly evolving. So don't get used to too connected or too attached to how your mediumship is today. Because a year from now, your mediumship is going to be different. So
Right.
so it's an adventure. It really is.
It
So
is.
don't try to go swim back to where you were, because you're not. You're going forward and you're changing, and you've had some losses. The person who just asked the question, you've had some losses. You're going to change. Your perspective is going to change. Therefore, your mediumship will change. So just allow it to come back gradually over time, in the way that it comes through, and just be open to new experiences with spirit. And it's
If you have those mediumistic gifts and you already know it, no matter what level you have them at, whether it's just an inkling that you've had premonitions and you're psychic, or you're actually, getting voice or hearing things in your mind, or seeing things and kind of knowing the presence or essence of somebody there, no matter what level you're at, you don't lose this. It's
right.
always been there. It was, it is, and it always will be. What
Mhm.
is in our way is our own distractions, our own self, our own fears. And so the things to work on is to really brave through those things and ask, what techniques can I use to kind of get closer to my own soul journey, to my own soul self. And that will help you to kind of break down those walls that have been built from the deaths around you, or the losses around you, or the loss of a job, no matter what
Mhm.
it is. Those are distractions. People can tick us off to no end, and we get so angry and so upset, we ruin the whole day. You know, did we have to ruin the whole day? No. that was kind of a choice of the mind. Our thoughts became things, and all of a sudden we put walls up all around ourselves. That was never necessary. The more we learn about spirit, the more we learn about the universal energy and about the nature of who we are, and we become closer to the nature of who we are and more reverent to what that means. And
Mhm.
we've we don't sweat the small stuff anymore. So
Yeah, isn't
yeah.
that true? Yeah, absolutely. So if there's anybody in the New England area or someone who wouldn't mind traveling to the New England area, um, Joe is going to be in the Boston area in June. So it's not
Yes.
only a couple of weeks away. And he and I will be teaching a class at Circles of Wisdom in Methuen, Massachusetts. Now, it's a 2-day class, but there are 1-day options with this class. So if you are already committed on one weekend, 1 day of that weekend, you can still come and take part in the class and do the 1-day option. So I'm going to share this with you, but it's Soulful Mediumship, and this is for any medium. Okay, anybody, even if you don't want to do platform work or work with groups or small groups or families or churches or whatever, and your focus right now is just one-to-one, perhaps. I found, like I said before, being up and working in front of groups has actually helped my mediumship. I found, even though it wasn't my goal at the time, but see where it took me. So check that out. You can either go to circlesofwisdom.com and check that out, or I just lost it. There we go.
There you go.
Or you can go to josephshielmedium.com or lauraworcester.com, and they're on each of our websites. Let me see if anybody have any questions
Well,
here.
somebody's asking me if there's knocking on the door.
I was waiting for someone to say that.
I met the Journey Within Church, and there's roofers on the roof because the roof failed, so we're having a new roof put on. So sorry.
I was waiting for someone to say spirit knocking.
Yeah. I was
Janet?
telling Laura that we're going to have an airport come in anytime now through the roof, but it's going to be a worker,
Very good.
Anyway.
And we also, just so you know, we also have a demonstration of mediumship on June
Yeah,
1st as well. So Joe will be doing his spirit art. So if you've never seen a spirit artist medium do work, come see us June 1st, because Joe will be doing this, and he'll draw without having any prior knowledge of what your loved one looks like. He will draw them as he brings them through and brings the messages from them. It's fascinating to watch. If you've never seen a spirit artist works, come check that out. That's June 1st at Circles of Wisdom. And again, you can go to lauraworcester.com or josephshielmedium.com to check that out. But
I'm going to say something. I'm not really the one to put up billboards or to advertise, but I will say that I have worked with Laura before, and I've watched her assessment of people when they demonstrate and that type of thing. And it's brilliant. She sees the intricacies and really is able to pull it out to show you. And of course, as some of you have already said, in that pleasant, wonderful voice. And so it just makes it so much easier to learn and to get what you're doing and see it for yourself. So if you have a chance to take advantage of this, I wouldn't miss it if I were you, but that's just me. Okay. So
I look forward to working with you, Joe. It'll be a lot of fun.
Me too. Fantastic.
So if anybody's out there would like to come check out the class on the weekend, you can do either Saturday or Sunday or both days, or Thursday evening for the demonstration, June 1st and then June 3rd and 4th. And
Great.
again, lauraworcester.com and josephshielmedium.com. All righty. Thank you,
Medium.
Joe. Thanks, everyone, for your awesome questions.
All right.
See you
Peace,
soon.
everybody.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Laura. Take care. Bye-bye.